What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to tonight's live. I know we're about 30 minutes later than usual, but I said we are not going to miss out on the opportunity to go live this evening. So welcome. Um, Wherever you are tuning in from, or wherever you are, let me know in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in. And then let me know how you are doing on this beautiful Sunday. It was a beautiful Sunday. So let me know how you are doing. And let me also know, listen, especially if you're watching the replay, let me know one thing that you did this weekend where you were like, yes, this was great. Because we have to learn how to take our weekends and do something we enjoy, not just, working and working and working and working. Because a lot of us are running from job to job and we're using our weekends to um, work on the job that we have outside our job. And that's when life gets kind of like boring. So let me know in the chat, number one, how are you doing? And one thing you did for yourself this weekend. Let me know. So let's dive in tonight. We're going to be talking about the two operating systems that every entrepreneur needs. So last week we talked about AI in your business and how it is disrupting your business. And so this is kind of a continuation of that conversation, because if you are reliant on AI in your business, then you got some things that you got to work on there, okay? And there's likely a hiccup in one of these two operating systems that's causing you to rely on AI rather than using it as a tool to support you. So let's dive, my favorite words, let's dive in. So the two operating systems that every entrepreneur needs. Number one, there are two of them. And if you think about an operating system, what do we typically think of? When we think about an operating system, we simply think of iOS, we think of Android, we think of Windows, Microsoft, all those things. Instead of thinking about what an operating system actually is. So, an operating system is, oh, sorry, y'all. An operating system is when it's that thing that runs in the background, okay, that makes everything run together. So when you think about your phone or you think about your computer, it has an operating system, right? And so there are other systems within that operating system that make things run on default. Now, as humans, we also have an operating system. As entrepreneurs, we also have an operating system. There's that thing that's running in the background. So when I talk about systems, uh, people often get confused when I talk about systems. They think I'm talking about technology. And technology is great, but technology is not your system. Your system is the repeatable process, that thing that you do over and over and over and over, or that happens over and over and over and over. And sometimes when we're talking about an operating system, it can run in the background. So when we're talking about systems, we're talking about the processes. Now, tech here's how technology kind of rears into there. There are certain apps, there's technology, there's tools that you can use that will support you in making the systems and the workflows that you have running in the background run a little smoother. I don't think that's the word. Run a little smoother, run a little more effective, and run more intentional. A lot of us are living in default. We've got this default mode and it is running nonstop in the background, and we can't seem to figure out how to get out of it. The way to get out of it is to think about your operating system. So again, there are two of them. There's your personal operating system, and then there's your CEO operating system. Your personal operating system is the ways that things run in your life intentionally, again, in the background, that help you in your life. Okay? So when we're thinking about finances, we're thinking about our relationships, we're thinking about our health, we're thinking about our wealth, we're thinking about our rest, we're thinking all of those things need a specific system. Now, when you're thinking about your CEO operating system, if you are an entrepreneur, then you also have those systems that are running in the background telling you what it is that you need to do, what you should do, it's always running. And when you were talking about a CEO operating system, we're talking about your your vision, your mission, your offers, your revenue, your automations. All of those are included in your CEO operating system. The way that your clients move through a journey, your client experience, all of it is part of your CEO operating system. And if you're not considering those things, that's why you feel stuck, and that's why things aren't moving in the direction in which you feel like they should move. So how do we get out of this? So you've got to, if you feel like you've been living in default, I'll tackle personal first, and then I'll tackle the CEO operating system. So if you feel like you are living in default, then that's where the personal operating system steps in. You've got to look at each area of your life, and you've got to decide, how can I be more intentional? How can I be more strategic in that area? So, here's an example. Uh, for me personally, I go to bed super early. Like I will probably, as soon as we get off this call, go make my lunch for tomorrow, and then I'm gonna wash my face and I'm gonna go to bed. I go to bed early because I get up extremely early. 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. It's been more on the 4:30 side as we're winding down the school year because it's the end of the school year. That's what I'm gonna say. Because teachers be wearing me out and kids be wearing me out, and I just be tired when I leave work. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. So because of that, it is important that I get the rest that I need. So part of my system is making sure that I am up by 4:30 a.m. How do I do that? Well, there are certain things that I have in place to make sure that at 4:30 a.m. your girl is wide awake. Now, once that system is in place, we can pull in the tools, the technology piece to support that. So, what are some of the tools and technology that I have in place? Well, um, to wake up at 4:30 a.m. Number one, I have my outlets are on timers. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I would fall asleep with the lights on and they would never cut off. So, because my outlets are on timers and my lights are on timers, that means that the I have it set so that the light automatically cuts on at a certain time. That's number one. So when the light cuts on, if I open my eyes and it's still dark, I know in my brain that it's not 4:30 yet because that light cuts on at 4:30. It's also something that I don't have to think about. So I've automated that part of my wake up routine. So it's not something that I have to think about. It just happens. The second part of that, the technology piece, the tool that I use to support that wake up at 4:30 time, is I have a Hatch alarm clock. That Hatch alarm clock supports me in understanding that it's time to gradually wake up. So I have it set so that 30 minutes before I need to wake up, that 4:30 time, My therapist and she was trying to get me to go for 5. I was like, "Girl, that's not enough time to get myself together and peace and calm in the mornings." So we went for 4:30. She said she was okay with 4:30, and I was like, "Thank you, sis." Um, so I have that Hatch alarm clock. It is set to be all the way alive at 4:30, which means at 4 o'clock it starts to gradually um light up. Now, if 4 o'clock is not your time, that's okay. If you know in your life that you can do what you need to do in the morning at 5 a.m. by waking up at 5 a.m., wake up at 5 a.m. If you know you can do everything you need to do and wake up at 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, do what you got to do. But you want to have some type of system and you want to make it intentional so that you don't just wake up to be waking up on the wrong side of the bed. On the wrong side of the bed. I get out the bed on the same side every morning. The other piece with that is that it doesn't matter if I wanted to change my system so that I was waking up at like 5 or 6, and that's probably what I'll do during the summer when I am not at work. I can do that, but the system, the intentional piece is the same. The other part of that is that when I wake up, first thing I do is I say, "Thank you, Lord, for another day." And then I get out the bed, I make my coffee, I come and do my devotional, read, and have my meeting with God. All of this happens in the morning. It is a system, it is intentional, and that encompasses multiple parts of that that personal operating system. That CEO operating system is in there too. But it encompasses multiple parts of the operating system, the overall operating system. But it's intentional. And again, I have the apps, I have the tools that support the system. Now, when it comes to my CEO operating system, there are certain things that I have in place as well. We can talk about client experience, we can talk about offers, we can talk about, just making sure that I am in tune with my revenue, and then the tools like Google spreadsheets, like Wave, like what else do I use? There are a lot of things that I use. My business bank account, all of those different things that help me to see where my money is in my business, what I have. Um, I've done a video on this before, but in my business, I use the profit first system. When somebody pays me, 10% automatically goes to God. A tithe, yes, out of my personal account and through my business. So 10% immediately goes to the Lord. And once that 10% is sent out, then I have it automated within my business bank account, because I could most definitely sit here on a sticky note and write out the percentages, but I'm going to be honest with you. When I did not have it automated, it was a hot mess. And so now that I have it automated, 50% of what's left after that 10%, so 50% of 90%, which is 45%, goes to me into my personal account. Once it hits my personal account, I also have a separate system which gets back into my personal operating system, but I have a separate process for once it gets to my personal account. But again, 45% of the total, or 50% of the remaining, goes to owner's pay. That means I can pay myself. From there, I put 10% away for taxes, 5% away for profit, 35% away for operating expenses. The other piece of that is that on Sundays, when I am looking at my money, then I know, okay, this is the day that I pay myself. So I go ahead and schedule that automated transfer to my personal account from the owner's pay account, so that I am making sure that Carmen gets paid, because it ain't nothing like having a business and you not paying yourself. Another thing that I do within my CEO operating, when we're talking about revenue and we're talking about finances, is that with the profit first system, you have a profit account, right? And so with my profit account, what I've started doing is each quarter taking a piece of that out and using, I usually take 50% of what's in the profit account out and leave 50% there each quarter. And taking that 50% and that either becomes a bonus or it becomes a new something new because I got shiny object syndrome and let me make a list because if I don't, I will just buy things randomly, or it gets moved into my operating expenses. It doesn't really matter. I can do whatever I want to with it because I've saved it and I've had it sitting there the entire quarter. So I want you to think about when it comes to your business, when it comes to not just your business, but it comes to your personal life, what are the systems and processes that make up your CEO operating system, your personal operating system, and your CEO operating system? What do you need so that you feel not just like an entrepreneur, but you feel like the woman or man that you were called to be? Now, when it comes to your CEO operating system, your CEO operating system should support the personal operating system. And I say that because there are so many of us that are building our lives around this, excuse me, the CEO part, and we're forgetting the personal part. That's when I say you're running from job to job. You're burning yourself out trying to build this business when your business should be, or you should be building your business to sustain the personal and the personal goals that you have and the things that you actually want for your life. So your CEO operating system should be working with your personal operating system and supporting your personal operating system. All right, that was a quick run through of the two operating systems that you have running in the background on default at all times. Listen, I want to invite you, number one, to book a call with me. If you feel like your operating system is running on default and you need some help to build that up, book a call with me, a clarity call, because you will leave that call with some clarity. We are going to get to the nitty gritty of what is going on, and we're going to look at where you are headed and how your personal operating system and your CEO operating system can support you. The second thing I want you to do after you book your realignment call or clarity call, book your call. It's a free call. Once you book your call, then I want you to mark your calendar, especially if you're on my email list. If you're on my email list, you're going to get the email. If you're not on my email list, girl, what are you doing? I need you to get there. And we are going live this week. Yes, this week we're going live right in the Zoom room. Now, yes, it's going to be broadcast on YouTube. However, if you're in the Zoom room, I've got some goodies for you, and I'll be doing some hot seat coaching and a live Q&A. So you want to make sure that you get in the Zoom room. This week we're talking all about again, we're going to expand upon this conversation about the CEO and the personal operating system because girl, we got things to do. And we need the structure. We need to be intentional and strategic about making it all happen in our lives. So that's it for this evening. I will see you live. Make sure you join my email list so you find out exactly what day and what time, and you get the Zoom link so that you can join me live on in Zoom. Because again, we're breaking this down. And that is all, y'all. I will see you very soon. I love you.